Good morning, Lee here from Martin Lutzi Property Group with my weekly real estate market update. Hope you're having a fantastic morning. Another live video here on Facebook for this weekly update. So hope you're enjoying these. We did our first one last week and giving it a second crack this week as well. So lots to unpack in this week's blog article that I wrote, which you can check out at martinlutzipropertygroup.com.au. We've just launched our new website. Lots of information, obviously, about property and market trends, but also local information about the local community here in Palmwoods that we're going to improve on moving forward with the other suburbs in the Sunshine Coast Hinterland District. So looking at price trends at the moment and growth, there's been consistent price growth over most markets in the last 5 months. So if you look at most of the markets across Australia, there's been consistent positive gains in property price growth. So looking at Australia last month, across the capital cities, 1.3% growth reported in dwelling price gains. So 1.3%. Now year on year, it's still down 3.2% across Australia. We look at some cities that are performing quite well. Sydney, this year alone, dwelling prices have increased 5.9%. So that's fairly significant in the grand scheme of things, off the back of now 14 consecutive cash rate rises as well. Brisbane, so a more modest 2.8% increase in dwelling prices. So you're looking at the forecast towards the end of the year, we might see property prices go up to 5% this year in our local markets here as well. On the Sunshine Coast, I don't have exact figures for what property prices have done. However, I probably would estimate that they're similar to that of Brisbane. Some properties performing better than others, and I'll tap into that in a second here as well. Now, there's a lot of concern in the industry at the moment. A lot of folk in the industry talking about this fixed rate mortgage cliff coming up, which may cause a fairly significant, some people are predicting a fairly significant decrease in property values across Australia. Now, I'm not too concerned. I don't think it's going to hurt as many people. And what I am hearing is that those people that bought in that COVID boom period, 2020 to 2022, if they paid higher than above market averages price-wise, and they are feeling the pinch now of those mortgage rate increases and having to sell, they're the ones that are probably going to see significant losses with their property prices. And in Sydney, they're reporting this already, where some people are taking their properties to auction, bought a year ago or a year and a half ago, and now looking at offers significantly lower than what they paid, like $100,000, $200,000 differences. So those people, I think, will struggle. But if you look at the price trends, pre-COVID, we're still well up. Average is about 25% across the country. So if you bought a property, anything pre-COVID, your property values are still up and there's a lot of equity still there. So I think those people are going to be all right. Yes, have no doubt that the increased interest rates will start to have an impact on household income, household expenditure and what they can afford. And obviously that mortgage repayment will put a little bit of stress on many families across Australia as well. But I don't think it's going to cause a market crash. And here's why. For the Sunshine Coast, I think there's a couple of factors that are really working in our favour. Number one, the lifestyle appeal. There's still a lot of people migrating to the sunny coast for the lovely lifestyle appeal. And who can argue with that? It's a beautiful part of the world, beautiful part of Australia where you can live. So we are still seeing demand from southerners coming up this way, looking for that migrational sea change, tree change, whatever it might be. Now, if you look at some of that migrational movements, I think is happening based on affordability. People clearing down their debt, selling in a market that are higher prices and moving to a market where there's more affordability or lower prices. So not only, you're having Sydney siders or Melbourne siders coming up to the Sunshine Coast and purchasing property here after selling for fairly good prices down there. But we're actually seeing a lot of locals here selling up properties and moving north to Bundaberg or Capricorn Coast, somewhere up that way. And again, trying to reduce their debt and buying more affordable properties in those areas. And sometimes for the lifestyle appeal as well. A lot of people on the sunny coast are fed up with the growth that we're experiencing here and wanting to go to a place where there's less growth. So I think that's one thing that's definitely in the favour of the Sunshine Coast with property prices moving forward. The other thing is employment. The unemployment rate is quite good here. So one of the reports I read this week said that the Sunshine Coast unemployment rate sits around 2.6%. Now, compared that to the rest of the state at 3.9%, that's fairly promising. Means there's good work opportunities up here, and again, that'll help that migrational appeal for people coming to the Sunshine Coast looking for work and looking for more affordable housing compared to some of the southern markets, at least anyway. Another favourable aspect of the market right now, and this is across Australia, but locally here as well, the amount of supply on the market is significantly low. So it's still, on this time last year, down about 20%. So there's a lot less properties available, and that pent-up demand is going to build. There's a lot of people been sitting on the fence waiting, holding off from selling, holding off from buying, and of course, sellers become buyers, and they're holding back to see what that market's going to do. There is going to be that demand there and people wanting to buy a property. We've got a huge amount of migration happening in Australia as well, lots of population growth. Now, if that shortage of properties remains evident, then that's going to keep those prices firm here for us in Australia, but also on the Sunshine Coast as well. The good news is that we are nearing the top of the interest rate peak. So many experts are saying now that we might have one more rate rise, maybe two. So when that happens, that's when more certainty will happen in the economy, and we'll start to figure out, what inflation's doing and all those sort of things. Give confidence to sellers as well, those people that have been holding off selling, waiting for the market to improve. So I think that will turn the market around. Now, they are still saying that, keeping that in mind, with the economy moving forward in 2024, we may actually see the RBA to decide to reduce that cash rate and ease back on that. So that'll help household owners as well, and could really stimulate the economy if that interest rate drops, 1.5%. I don't think it'll be that much, but even if it drops a little bit, I think that will stimulate more demand in the current property market as well. So a couple of key factors when you're looking at the property market right now, because some people are saying, look, the market's died, it's slower. These are all very good points, but there's a couple of things that I think are really important to consider, and that is the location of the property, the presentation of the property, and the price of the property. If those three factors are really well done or ticked, you will see strong results coming in, and you'll see short times on the market, and that's certainly the experience we're having. So those properties that present themselves well, getting the stylist in, getting really nice photos and marketing happening, where the price is correct or meets the market, and the location factor too is very important. Those three factors, if you can have all three ticked, you're going to sell in a very short time frame for a very good price. And we've experienced that with a number of properties in the Loke Hill hinterland area here at the moment, where we're just presenting these properties very well. They're good locations, and they're selling in good they're selling in good time frames for considerable prices as well, above the vendors' expectations in most cases. Affordability is still a factor, and those properties that have good affordability still are getting much more demand. Now, you're looking at the hinterland areas, anything around the $500,000 and $600,000 mark seem to be getting more demand than those prices in the higher price categories. On the coastal side of the Sunshine Coast, you're looking at about $800,000 considered affordable. Anything above that getting less interest and less demand. But again, those other three factors still play a key role in selling your property, and that's presentation, price, and location. So guys, that is my weekly real estate market live video this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Reach out if you have any questions about the property market. I've got some exciting news coming out soon too, so stay tuned on our Facebook page here because you'll hear more about that soon. And anything we can help with, just give us a call. Thank you.